What's up, guys? Your boys back here on Onlockcast.
It's ya boys!
We back, and as you can see, new and improved. So we've just upgraded to a new studio. The bank rolled in, all our sponsors came in. Thank you guys for who was listening.
Thank you all that made this possible.
The other week, and we've also got a new Jamie, Matt, who's our new Jamie.
As we told you last week on the podcast, our new Jamie has been signed. We went through the thousands and thousands of resumes, and we finally found the one that fit. So, without further ado,
Cut.
Into what?
A Jew.
Like Jewish people.
Further Jew.
Without further ado,
Yeah.
A Jew.
can you say
Are
it?
you a fucking Jew?
No,
shake your hands or not?
no.
Keep going.
Shake hands. Yeah.
Keep
We'll
this
just-
You can edit. Shake hands.
We'll just... No, we don't have to shake hands.
Caleb, keep all of this. Keep all of this.
Keep it.
Without further ado,
Without further ado, Charlie Weymouth, ladies and gentlemen. Our boy.
Greetings, gentlemen.
Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me in the studio.
Before we
Hold on.
stop.
Wait. Do you guys haven't
Like and subscribe.
like and subscribe? Hey, shout out to subscribers.
Really helps with the YouTube algorithm. We're up to 14. Fame is starting to hit, so let's see how hard we can get that.
Where are you going to put it? Right here? Right here.
Right.
Right
there.
here, everyone.
Kaylin, get that shit done.
Charles,
Charles.
thanks for coming on.
How are we?
Thanks for having me. Gentlemen.
That's a really funny jumper.
Yeah, I think you know the story behind this one.
Does that got any meaning to it?
It's got some tangible value, a lot of memories attached to it.
What's on the back of it?
Back this one.
Yeah, just can we see it?
What does it say?
Can we see it? Let's off piss.
Snow trip.
Huckabee snow trip.
Chuckles.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah,
Chuckles, that's
personalised, courtesy of Alex Graham. Shout out.
Shout out,
What's
Graham.
the obviously Charlie Chuckles.
There was a 2018 snow trip, Japan, and Alex was nice enough to get them custom made for the whole group.
Is there a meaning behind
I
Chuckles?
don't even think he likes me that
I
much,
think-
but he actually got me one too. So
I think the more important part is there a meaning behind that?
is there anything behind that?
Yeah, can you explain
I was wearing it the whole time, and I didn't even know there was meaning behind it. So.
What, for real?
Yeah, I legitimately didn't know, but that's why everyone was saying two in the pink, one in the stink.
And for people who can't
Everywhere I
see-
went, people would say the same thing.
You know
I
what?
didn't get it.
I got a confession. I was also on that trip, and I'll never forget the time.
Another snow trip I wasn't
Another
invited for.
It's getting worse. But we were checking out of the hotel room, and the girl was like, "I love your jumper. What does this mean?" I'm like, "Oh."
A girl
So-
said it to you?
Yeah, the girl, and I was a bit ratty with the boys.
With the fucking boys.
with the lads.
Obviously.
We're the fucking lads.
It's big
And
game.
I was like, 2 in your pussy, 1 in your heart. She's like, oh.
Oh, she didn't know?
No.
I thought she meant like, love your jumper.
Nah. She was very Japanese.
Very Japanese.
Very Japanese.
Shout out to all our Japanese fans out
Shout
there.
out Japan.
There's nothing wrong with being very Japanese.
There's nothing wrong with Japanese at all. Speaking of Japanese, you guys tried Japanese whiskey?
Is that Japanese whiskey?
Nah, but have you tried it?
Shall we pour a glass?
You guys want some of this stuff?
I'd be honoured.
What do we got? This is straight from the man himself, Charlie. Thank you so much. What is Dimple?
Sponsored by Dimple.
Sponsored by Dimple.
Any background on the dimple?
This is actually gifted to me by the one and only Mitchell Kitson. So,
Kitty?
Yeah,
Blended
thank you.
Scotch whiskey.
Shout out,
Kitty.
Yeah.
Let's
Get it
go.
Age 10 years. For my 26th birthday. So thank you.
It's incredible.
For your birthday?
Yeah, you were there. You were both there.
Kitty never gave me anything for my
Maybe
birthday.
you weren't there, Matthew.
No.
For your birthday?
Yeah. Mason's house.
Charlie,
No, it was
you
not.
said you're 26. What else are you?
What else am I?
What else are you? Tell the fans who are at home, because like we obviously know you, Charlie. Some
Well-
would say you guys are close,
Related.
related almost.
Related.
Yeah, so Witters is adopted into our family. I think I met
Wow,
Witters when I was about
Bro,
10.
you know you're in my way
Words
the whole
hurt.
time.
Words hurt, my
Yeah,
friend.
you're overshadowing us.
Yes, I'm an adopted step cousin.
Feels like
To
forever.
you?
Though. I think it was before puberty, so it kind of just
The
feels like
first-
a bit
the
forever.
The first time we ever met,
Wasn't I in the family before you were?
the first time,
You hit puberty before he did.
That's for sure.
the first time we ever met, we we wrestled for like hours in your lounge room. And then we didn't speak for like 3 years.
That's really weird because
Hey, that was
the
a
first
strange
time me and
experience.
him met, we also wrestled and it was at your house.
No, you got in my face.
Hey man.
Why'd you get in his face?
Nah, it was grand final day 2000.
We were all pissed in like year 7 and he's like, and then do you want to wrestle or something? And then he spear tackled me and then started
Oh, I thought you meant like you got like...
No, we were getting rowdy. It was
big
like 2007 grand final day at Jay's house. Underneath, you might have even been there.
I'm
Nah,
assuming I
you,
was there.
nah, it was
For
before.
the people at home, Jay
You might have been there actually.
His
Of course I was there.
father.
Yeah.
There you are, sir.
But speaking of beef,
And to you, sir.
cheers, lads.
Cheers.
To unlock,
To unlock.
subscribe.
Ooh, that's nice. That's sweet. That's sweet.
Puts bloody hairs on your chest, doesn't it, lads?
Oh, gets them up.
But speaking
Hold on,
of,
these weren't here before.
speaking of beef, Charles,
Big beef.
me and Sarmad had a bit of beef during the week. Me and Sarmad
You
having...
gonna bring that shit up?
It really be like that, do it?
Yeah, it'd be like that.
It really be like that.
Me and Sarmad hadn't had an argument for many years. Many years. Until, what was it, Wednesday?
Yeah. Matt decided to open his mouth.
Well, every time you actually talk to Sarmad, it's an argument.
When
It's
was
not
the
really a
last time you
conversation.
had a full-on argument with Sarmad? Like, where you actually got pissed off with him?
Well, I would say on the way home from Thailand.
What happened?
It was good.
We'll
ground.
get into our beef in a second, but what
This
happened?
is way more important. This is... Tell
Oh.
the people. Tell us it.
No, a couple trips together. Is
Sarmad.
it just 2 trips or
Me and Charlie?
international?
It was international, yeah.
How many trips? 2?
Probably about 2.
Japan,
2 or
Thailand.
3.
Oh, how many trips we've been on together?
2.
Yeah, just two. Yeah.
So you're on your way home from Thailand?
Yeah, it was actually just before lockdown, so we made it actually. We got one in just before lockdown, so it was actually really good.
Just a cheeky one.
Last year?
Yeah, so it was
Couple of these ones.
November 2019.
Couple of these ones.
November 2019.
Yep.
And it'd been a bit of a long trip, but I think Sarmad and Alex was there for more the purpose of training, and we had the party crew, Jake, me, and
Yes. I
Dylan.
remember.
Dylan was a bit half and half, wasn't he?
I'm an athlete.
Professional athlete.
He was a professional athlete, and Mem, no, he wasn't drinking. He kept his end of the bargain.
But you were there for the Muay Thai experience.
I was there for the Muay Thai experience and I got more than I bargained for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Way more. Like gastro.
Oh.
There you go.
I was like, are we talking massage parlor ladyboy situation or what are we talking?
That's not for the camera.
I opted to have my own room, and Sarmad and Alex shared a room for a little bit, but I think Sarmad got sick, Alex got sick, and then you got sick.
Yeah.
So invariably, when you share a room, these things happen.
Do you want to hear the story with intensity?
Which story? The
This
beef?
this same story. This beef.
I want to hear the beef.
The beef. So we're on our way home, like all hungover.
Yeah.
Except for me, I'm an athlete. All hungover and pretty tired, and we were all good. Alex was sick, and we were all good. We're going home, and then all of a sudden, I start feeling a little bit under the weather, and I'm just wondering what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're in the taxi. Things get a bit heated. I can't remember. We
I
argued
argued about nonsense.
stupid stuff.
Just nothing.
Just stupid stuff about what's illegal, what's legal.
Yeah.
Like
It was all coming to a climax the whole trip.
It was ego versus ego.
It was
No, it
ego
was
versus
just
ego.
6 days of tension build up.
And,
Releasing.
and then finally, we get to the airport, and then on the first plane, because we had a stopover,
Oh,
on
that's
the
right.
first plane, things started going wrong, and I felt really sick. And as we got off the plane, it hit me really hard, and I had to run to the bathroom, and painted some stuff, both ends. Anyways, so that's not the important
visual
part.
for you guys.
There was actually a little funny thing.
That's not the beef. I want to hear the
No,
beef.
we get to the beef.
Oh, this
I
is-
need to paint the picture.
I feel like got delayed a couple hours. So we all went
You're
to
all frustrated.
everyone went to the pub except Sarmad. And then we all got a little bit drunk.
We all took Xanax
Yeah, to help
because
us
that's
sleep
what
on the
happens. That's what happens when you fly. You want to teleport.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
take a Xanax, you go to sleep, you wake up. So we all took one Xanax thinking that
And
we
the
were
flight
about to
got delayed.
jump on the flight. The flight got delayed.
Hmm.
These guys got rowdy, went to the bar, got hammered.
Oh, so they're fighting the Xanax right now?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
by this
And
stage,
he's fighting, not dying.
I'm fighting
Violently ill.
I'm fighting death. And I'm just covered in about 10 blankets, like
You shivering?
yeah, shivering, hot and cold. And these guys come back. We finally get on the flight, and we all sit in our allocated seats, and I just happen to be in the middle, next to the rest of the lads.
Yeah.
Charlie is feeling rowdy, but he's been placed next to the window.
Yeah.
Okay, so Charlie just wants to kick on with the boys. I just want to die and survive.
Yeah, what
Die
a
and
drama.
survive. And so Charlie's sitting here, I'm sitting here. Charlie's like, "Sam, mate, can I have your seat?" By this stage, I'd buckled up, I'd warmed up, but I don't want to move. I'm in a bad way. I don't want to move.
The big fella's settled.
I'm settled.
He's settled.
And Charlie starts poking me. He's like, "Wait, do you want to?" Like with crossed eyes.
And for anyone that's ever been around Rowdy Charlie at his peak, my God. If you're not in the mood for it, you're fucking not in the mood for it.
But I'm not even in the mood for it, right?
He is a force to be reckoned with, though. When he's on. He's
when you're with him, when you're there with him, and you want to be there with him.
You're on my level.
When you're on his level, there's almost no one better. No one better.
Yeah, but
this went on for 5 hours.
I tell him I can't. I tell him, Charlie, I can't move. I'm not moving. Like it's not. I'm in a bad way. Leave me alone. And he's like, "Oh, just why are you being selfish?" I'm like, "Charlie, leave me the fuck alone." Anyway, so I fall asleep, and I'm like in and out of consciousness because he keeps poking me. He's like,
"Where's the stopover?"
There is none.
It was in Singapore.
Singapore. So how many hours?
1.5 hours there.
So then like 8 hours.
6 hours on the way back.
Yeah.
6 to 7 hours on the way.
It was enough.
And then anyway, so he's wait, do you want to just jump in my seat and I'll jump in yours? I'm like, fuck off, Charlie. Go
I thought I could convince him.
10 times. And then
I was on a loop.
listen to this. He's like, wait, your food's here. I'm like, I'm fine, Charlie, thanks. And then I wake up to him trying to feed me. He's like stretched across the aisle. He's like trying to put food in my mouth. I'm fucking fine, Charlie.
I don't remember any of it. This is news to me. This is good news.
That's good news.
And then
but you can understand, he was rowdy. Were the other boys rowdy as well?
No, they're all passed out.
Oh, so you're not even trying to be involved in anything.
He's
I was
just
having a party.
being silly Xanax drunk.
I was having a party though.
But we get off the plane and he's like, "Sam, man, I think you were really fucking annoying on the plane." I'm like, "That's it, cunt." Someone hold me back.
Oh, and then you just went at it.
No, it was nothing. It was peaceful transfer of power.
Yeah, sort of.
No, we just didn't talk for about a year. It was fine.
As you do.
No, it was a good solid month of just tension.
This beef was a little bit more lighthearted than mine and yours.
Yeah, for you.
From my end.
So me and Samad had a conversation. I messaged him on Wednesday, I think, and I said, "Well, looks like we're talking about Afghanistan on Friday." And then he just it touched a nerve, man. It touched a real nerve because and we'll get into this probably later, but when something happens, everyone on Instagram starts sharing, donate $1 to this thing. Everyone becomes a social activist for this thing for 3 days and then they forget about it.
Yeah.
And it everyone is so arrogant when they post about it.
Well, everyone has a degree in foreign policy.
Yeah.
But everyone's so arrogant about it. That's what I can't stand.
I thought it was a 2-for-1 deal. You get a degree with epidemiology and foreign policy at the same time.
Yeah, as long as you're free Palestine, it's fine.
Yeah, so everyone, that's what I hate. Everyone goes, "You're all complaining about your freedoms. Made me fucking sick." 3 weeks ago, they shared an anti-fucking lockdown thing. Shut up, man. Shut up. But, so I go to him. We need to talk about Afghanistan. Not only is it, the biggest topic in the world right now, it's, huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking huge. Let's talk about it. We've got a platform. Let's talk about it. We don't have to be fucking experts. This man... when you argue with him and then he starts getting fucking personal.
Yeah.
He starts making you feel real small, real quick. And I'm a defenseless little fucking rabbit. And you're like a fucking giant grizzly bear and you're just coming at me, you want to fucking... and
He comes at you with an ad hominem response. Is it ad hominem?
But my point...
Just a bit of banter with the boys.
Just a bit of banter.
What he was saying was that he doesn't want to sensationalize it and contribute to these
hysteria,
social activists, fuckwits.
Yeah.
But he was acting like...
Oh, we can swear on here?
Yeah, we can swear. It was acting like there was no big deal.
Yeah. Yes.
He was acting like there was no big deal about what had happened in Afghanistan. He's like, it's been going on for 20 years. I was like, Samad,
bro, when you come
the president just fled the country.
When you come from,
this isn't fucking news.
When you come from the part of the world where I come from, that shit happens in your backyard.
Talking to a refugee, bro. OG refugee.
I've been through that shit.
But anyway, man,
but real talk, it's gonna happen, isn't it? It is a horrible situation.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
It's a horrible situation what's happening there.
We'll get
and I think it definitely deserves the hype it gets. I just wish that the hype that it got was at the crucial time when it needed it, and the people actually gave a shit rather than, you know, got their social justice warrior dicks out.
Virtue signaling. But save that venom. Save that venom. We need that
It's in there.
First, I want to talk about Charlie. Charles,
Jeez.
you're an interesting
Character.
fucking character.
To say the least.
You're an interesting character. Everyone that's ever met you has like walked away
They got some.
thinking about who you are.
I don't usually ask them. I usually ask them while I'm with them.
What do you
How
ask
they
them?
feel about me.
That's exactly the stuff I'm talking
That's
How
about.
do you feel about me? but like,
Can you write me a survey? Just if you don't mind filling out this quick survey
Quick survey.
about what you thought about me.
but like for real, knowing you like for so long, I'd say you're pretty misunderstood by the general like
Population, the wider population.
people who just pass by you might see you once a month, every 2 months, every 3 months.
They might have a misrepresentation of me. To some extent.
Why do you think that is, and what do you think is the most misunderstood quality about you?
I think I just don't have that many close friends throughout the last 10 years, so maybe they don't.
Or any good ones.
Can you fact check that? Thanks.
I didn't fucking.
Well, the thing
We're
is,
getting deep, man.
I've always had girlfriends.
Yes.
But like you two had too, but like maybe you had friends, like your boys, and then girlfriends, but maybe I just had girlfriends and I don't know, I just maybe didn't have that. Like I don't really see many people from my high school, and you guys kind of went to Montana, so you got like a massive boys group, but I guess I never really had that. But obviously I've got my good mates and my friends, but when you got a partner, they're kind of your best friend and their partner too. But
So you're saying you're whipped? You're whipped,
yes,
man.
yeah, whip man. Yeah, I guess I was. But
Wow.
Do you like, how do you feel about communicating to people that you don't find as close? Like, because I know, for example, there's certain people, to the average person I'll have a small talk with, I won't be able to connect on a deep level. And I know, like, for example, me and you, when we chat, we
Deep
talk
chat.
some serious shit. Like, we'll get into the depths of,
depths of hell.
We're
Depths of hell.
hoping everyone will understand these conversations.
They will,
by the
soon
end.
enough.
Yeah, well they'll explore it.
Wait till the henny kick in, man. And this stuff is good, by the way.
It is.
Like,
good.
it's strong. It's making me do this.
I
every
think
time
it's
I
just,
take a sip.
people often ask that and like get into that kind of conversation, but I think it comes with growing up with a big family.
You
Like,
can-
I'm one of 7.
You can talk. You can really, really talk. But
Nonsense.
like you can have really good, deep conversations, and that's exactly why you're here. That's exactly why you're our first, like, sort of official fucking guest.
No offense, Mason.
No offense, Mason. No offense, Mem. But like, you're
I
on
was
the,
maybe I've been on Instagram for a couple of weeks.
you're on the couch. You're here.
I'm in the studio.
You're
So you said, hold on, growing up in a family of 7, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, so I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. So both my parents had previous marriages before they
married
met each other, and they had 3 boys.
Yep.
So they had 3 girls between them.
So you
and
got
then-
2 full brothers,
Yeah. And then I have
1 half brother.
and then 3 half sisters.
3
But
half
I would never call them that.
No,
Shout out to the fam.
Shout out to them.
But
No,
yeah.
and you would never be.
I
You
would
would
never
never be like looked at as like half brothers. and
Yeah,
sisters.
of course, because we all lived together at a certain point. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
just always been a good environment. But I think that just you take that for granted. Like the first day of year 7, I moved to the only person I know the only bloke that came from my primary school was Christopher Ibbotson. His name was back then, but you know him as Chris Lynch.
Man.
Shout out to my boy.
Shout out.
Chris.
Shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
Chris
Tom.
Lynch. So he was the only guy from my primary school. Hope I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure he was the only guy. And there was about 20 or 30 women.
Yeah.
But I couldn't exactly, hang out with them.
So you converse more with, like, you say...
I talked to every single person on the first day of year 7. It was just like my thing, and I kind of just weaseled my way in. So there
Because
was,
you do love the
And
chat.
that's what he can do.
He
Yeah,
does
He
love
has
the
the
chat.
ability to do that.
Yes.
But people don't have that. People don't have that. Like,
Yeah, I
do you
think I-
understand people like
don't have that.
sitting back and not like being able to talk to a stranger
Yeah, have
because
you
of
ever,
anxiety? Do you understand it?
yeah, I've only properly understood that in recent years. I've only actually understood that. Excuse you, sir.
Siri understands.
I've only actually understood that in recent years. Like, oh yeah, some people do have anxiety and social anxieties, but that's never been me. And I guess it's hard to understand that when you go meet
When you
someone.
don't have it.
Yeah, like people might be timid, especially in social situations. Like that's where I'm in my element. Like people thrive and they come out.
Yeah.
Like have you met my dad? Like he's
You're very inquisitive though.
Oh yeah.
You take a lot in, and
Yeah.
he's always
Well-
like he's always fishing.
The thing for Charlie, like we always, it was a big family joke for many years. Oh, why's that? Why did? But you tell Charlie something, and he's got 10 whys to that question.
Mm.
Do you know
Very
what I mean?
inquisitive.
And it's sometimes annoying, but But it's a really good, strong quality.
Well, I'll tell you what, it serves him well because he's used that to his advantage. Just recently, he screwed over his landlord on VCAT. Has he told you that story?
You've mentioned it. You said Charlie's got a sick
took
story.
it to the man. He took it to the man, and like I'm sure for people out there who have been fucked on by
So what's
businesses
VCAT?
before, Victorian.
Couldn't tell you.
Victorian
Who are they? What do they do?
something tribunals.
It's a tribunal for civil matters.
Victorian civil something tribunals. So it's for.
Okay.
So let's say if I had an issue with you through like a business medium or something like that.
If me and you became rich and famous on Onlockcast.
When me and you become rich and famous, yep, and you decide you're gonna steal the thunder
I'm going to go make my own podcast or something.
on bad terms, I take you to VCAT,
Yeah, okay.
and that's where
It's for
gets
civil
sorted.
matters,
It's
essentially.
for civil matters. Yeah.
What is VCAT?
Jamie?
Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal.
And guys, I'd like to shout out Phil and Jamie while Jamie is here. Shout out Jordan Kingpin O'Connor. Kingpin, what?
Pin.
Put a crowd above all our heads right now,
Yeah,
Kevin.
that's
Right
it.
now.
That's it.
Oh, we'll tag him. We'll tag him right here.
Yeah, right here. We'll give him a drop.
He's got more followers than all of us combined, I think.
He's you know what? Shout out Geordie, a upcoming MMA fighter who might make his comeback one day. We don't know.
Got bricks for hands.
Keeps it mysteriously.
Follow that story.
But
Back onto Charlie.
back to this story.
Just tell us exactly like what eventuated and how you got to where you are now.
You talking about with the VCAT or just?
VCAT.
Oh, okay. Without going into too much detail.
No, please.
Pretty private. Basically, my garage doesn't have a drain at all. It's a double garage, and I moved into this house. I moved into the house I'm living at with the pretense that my garage wouldn't flood. And yeah, there's no drain currently there, and it's a big gradient from the footpath. And yeah, everything floods. So
That is a... There's no drain.
there's no drain.
And the driveway
There's
is
no
like
drain
this.
in front of my garage. So if you go out to your garage right now, you probably have a drain there. Mine doesn't.
And I think the most amazing part about the story is that it has nothing to do with the drain or anything. But basically, the landlord tried to strong arm Charlie into not bringing the issue up.
Yeah, so go. Tell us everything. We want to know.
Oh, it's pretty private. I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, basically he's been forced to rectify the problem because that's his duty as a landlord to keep the property in good repair. And I think that's fair, firm but fair.
Well, fair enough. He
Absolutely.
doesn't want to go too far into it, but I'll just mention what he did. He looked into all the legislation
By himself.
by himself and represented himself to get his outcome.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of person we're dealing with right now.
Well, he has to pay $250 per hearing, and there's been 3 hearings so far. He has to pay $250 in legal fees for his property manager to represent him, and I represent myself.
So you don't pay anything.
I don't pay anything. I had to pay $70 to launch the application, but $70. I'll get reimbursed compensation, and he'll be forced to fix it. But they think they're trying a seal at the moment, a seal instead of a drain. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't. But
So the problem's still not solved.
no. And I've been there about 5 months, and I'm just a guy who wants to set up his tatami mats and just wrestle with some boys.
You want to be able to do...
And for people who don't know, Charlie does a little bit of MMA.
Yeah. I roll around a little bit with some
Is
guys.
he any good?
He's alright. He's better than I thought he was.
So right now we got one pro MMA and one pro kickboxer in the room.
Yeah.
He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu
Charlie
brown belt. He's a brown
Charlie
belt.
is pretty natural at anything. Is he good at this?
So I severely I severely underestimated him the first time we ever sparred.
Yeah.
And we were
Sparred as in wrestling.
In a
MMA.
spa. Like a
Full
spa.
MMA.
full MMA spar.
Like a spa.
Like a spar, so you want a spar. Full MMA spar, so with the 4-ounce gloves on.
Mhm.
Actually, I had fatter gloves for training, the 8-ounce gloves. Charlie just decided he wanted to bring like the UFC 4-ounce gloves.
So they're more herdy.
Well, you've seen the UFC.
It's like a piece of leather. It's like a piece of leather.
They
over
break
your
people's
knuckles.
faces.
Yeah.
It's like a formality on your knuckles.
Well, I don't understand what the other gloves are either. But
The other gloves have a little bit of like,
These ones are going to hurt
feel
you.
this.
The other
feel
ones have
this,
more cushion.
Feel this, and now feel that.
Bro, I understand
You know
less
what I'm talking
padding,
about?
but that's
Oh,
all
he's
you
up
have
on
to
the
say.
George Orwell.
Shout out George.
Shout out George Orwell, 1984. If you haven't read this, you should have by now.
Anyway, so we touched gloves, and I'm just tapping him just lightly, and Charlie just throws this overhand haymaker from hell that lands straight on my chin, like just.
Did it rock out?
Yeah, I saw stars a little bit.
Yeah,
And I
it's
was
my
like-
bad. It's my bad.
I was like, I playing that shit.
What'd you do? You would have done a spinning back fist or something.
Oh, I don't think I
Some
was,
ridiculous.
Nah,
sad move.
I don't think I was a dick. I was like, I know Charlie. You know Charlie.
He's my boy.
But not just that, but Charlie's got like some strength that he doesn't even know he has. Would you say?
Yeah, it
You're
was.
Charlie. You would know.
Yeah, some call it retard strength. I just call it normal strength.
Charlie strength.
That's all he's ever known.
It wasn't intentional, but yeah, it was just a bit of a mishap. But
So is he good or not?
Yeah, he's alright.
Like he could obviously fuck me up.
You know what?
But, like,
He's good. He's a good grappler.
yeah.
Would you ever fight?
Purple belt and jits? So I've done my time a little bit.
Okay, hold on. Would you ever fight on DMT?
Shout out Joe Rogan.
Shout out Joe.
Can you pull
Rogan.
up the Siamese fish on MDMA?
That's what we need here.
Yeah.
We need a screen.
That'd be cool.
Projector.
We need a projector.
Hey,
You
why
know
don't we
what?
just?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got a projector.
You do?
Yeah. Let me just pull it right out of my pocket. Yeah, I'll just pull it right out
Do you
here.
actually have a projector or not?
No. Well, we can get one.
I think we
sure.
should put a fish tank in.
Well, Charlie, you do have lots of weird things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Why do you have?
You are a collector of like many things. That's why I asked you if you have a projector.
Well, that's why I bought these into the studio for you.
I would never
So
ask
that one.
Sarmat if he has a projector because I would just assume that he doesn't.
I
But,
don't have much.
But like I
You
assume
have a
that you
lot.
would have stuff.
You know when you get your tax back and you just buy unnecessary things?
No.
I run a business. So I get a
No,
tax
like you
bill.
see like a meme on Facebook and it's like when you buy unnecessary shit.
And it's a tiger.
The guy walking a tiger or an ostrich. Yeah, like
Is that what happens?
That's like my whole life.
I wouldn't even think to buy half of the crap that you buy though. Like it's really.
You buy things that you don't use. What's the least?
Shout out to Alex that when I got into snowboarding, he made me buy the best shit, all the best stuff, and he made me buy this snowboard which I used for about 2 months. It was literally the most expensive snowboard at the store. It was like $1,100. And I used it about 3 times and realised that it was not the board for me. So I've never used it again since.
What's the most expensive to least used product you have? Is it
That would have to be up there.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those.
But where do you
Probably
think
right.
to buy all this stuff? Because like I remember he had a knife collection
Oh yeah, I
for a
did.
little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Right now he's in his lounge room. He's got like 10 broadswords like just sitting around.
A seance.
Like a seance.
It's a witch hunter.
Why swords?
Mm.
What
Oh.
makes you tick, Charlie?
Well, I
what
bought-
do you
I bought
buy?
those swords.
What's wrong with you?
Charles Manson in the making. Cold fly. I bought those swords about 10 years ago now, and when I was moving out of my parents' house, I'm like, oh, this would be cool to put on, in the dining area. So
Swords do become collector's items over time.
I haven't seen those things for like 10 years. I'm like, oh, this would be cool, just to
Half
flash
of
some
them
of my cool stuff.
Is
Yeah.
that illegal to have a sword? Just
They're
out in
not
the
swords, they're just knives. But I think
Swords or knives you can have as an ornament.
yeah, but I've actually looked online before, and like there's legitimate like sword licenses.
No,
If you-
there is.
and like I think
Because I know
samurai,
someone who's
samurai
broken
swords are
one.
legitimately illegal, and like there's probably some like limitations of what knives you can have.
Can we pull that up? Can we find out?
Yeah.
Because
that's-
I know someone, I won't drop his name obviously, that has...
Drop his name. Drop his name. Drop his name. Okay.
The one rule we have on Onlockcast is don't incriminate anyone.
Okay, cool.
But... okay, cool. I like that rule. I know someone who's got like 20 swords that they can't hang up because they're illegal. If someone walked in and saw them, like a cop, they'd be able to like...
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to do anything contrary to the spirit of the law.
I don't understand why you would buy like a decoration thing, a collector's item, and have to hide it all the time.
I couldn't imagine.
Is
you would
it
hide in
that
your house.
pulling it out thing that's really cool? Oh, have a look at this, and pulling it out. Oh, I can't I would just want to hang it up.
Yeah,
I think but most people wouldn't they, in their house?
for sure.
But like,
Homeboy's got heaps set up already.
that's what I mean. But why would you buy this expensive collector's item
And then
you
keep it away. And,
keep it locked away?
Never see the light of day. Yeah, I guess
There's
it's
no point.
just a personal choice. I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess each to their own.
Says clasp knife, folding knife, or flick knife. The Australian police define these as a blade which opens automatically by gravity or
Centrifugal
force.
He would know. He would know.
Force, or by pressure applied to a button, spring, or device.
Yeah, so I
in
think-
or attached
Flick
to
knives.
handle of the knife.
I think
I'm pretty sure in
it's-
Victoria, 2 double-bladed edge knives. Victoria.
double-edged blades. Yeah.
They're illegal in Victoria, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
correct.
not sure
So
about.
Jamie used to use them for pig hunting back in the day, right? Double-edged blades.
What happened to no incriminating? So
He knows
I
the guy. He
think
knows the guy.
concealable knives are illegal. Flick knives, and I think butterfly knives also.
Yeah, when you look into it, actually, like apparently riot gear is illegal too. When you actually look into the when you get the full list up of, I don't know, probably a different list. Maybe it's a federal list, but yeah, riot gear is illegal.
Actually,
you wouldn't think so, would you?
I
If it's
think-
illegal.
No, I think there's a few things because I once know a mate who was driving in his car and he had a Bowie knife and a hatchet. Anyways, he got pulled over and he got charged with possessing a dangerous article and a controlled weapon.
He was just about to go hunting though, wasn't he? He was going for a bushwalk.
Well, that's what he said. He said, "I'm going camping
Mm.
today. I'm going," and he had camping gear in his car, but they said, "No, sorry, you know."
He got charged.
Is it
for
legal to hunt with?
No.
It wouldn't be humane.
Well, there it goes. Doesn't matter.
Well,
Stories
I
are
believe they can hunt. Maybe that's New South Wales because I'm sure you can hunt pigs with
With a compound bow or
Uh,
bows, you can
not
pop.
with knives. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, you can't Victoria. Yeah, no, I'm thinking of New South Wales.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
But going back to the family thing. So we've got a huge fucking family, and we've got a family
I
that
think it's about 36 grandchildren.
yeah
Yeah.
that everybody is jealous of. 36 grandchildren. How many great grandchildren? If you include my kids.
I think that's including. I don't know. You have to have another 10 for great grandchildren. Yeah.
I think more.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I stopped counting after about 40.
But it's a ridiculously big family,
Mm.
and a family I'm always bragging about because
Oh, always. Yeah.
because people like Christmas such a drag.
I'm like, lol. I have cousins of my own age.
So we've got
It gets rowdy.
from the ages of like 18 to
40.
say like 30, 35.
Melissa's 40.
Melissa's 40.
Yeah.
You know, but like from the ages of like 18 to like 30. How old's Jake?
32.
How old's Brooke?
34.
So like 18 to 34. Like there is 20 of us.
Oh yeah. It's huge. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And like we all have
we're on the same vibe.
personality.
We're on the same vibe. We all passed the vibe check in a small spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
We're on the spectrum.
we're all on the spectrum.
Speaking of spectrum,
With
I'll drink to that.
on that, who do you think? Like I probably know who you're going to say, but who do you think has had the biggest impact on your life
Out of the grandchildren.
out of everyone in the world?
Oh, everyone in the world.
Yeah, I think I know who you're going to say. That's why I sort of brought it back to the
Oh,
family.
I'd say my father. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say me,
He's
but
an OG.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about your dad.
Oh,
So
well, yeah.
what is he? A 12-time karate world champion.
Well, he's chief instructor for Karate Australia. So he's been doing karate.
He's the biggest dog in karate Australia.
Yeah, he's the biggest dog. So yeah, everyone knows Clive. If they're anybody who's anybody in karate knows Clive.
That's where you got the chattiness from, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it helps to have
Because he can chat.
a mature parents.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like he loves a good chat, but I guess just having a wise man
So
as a father really goes a long way.
He
But
dropped you, didn't he?
he wasn't just my dad. He was everyone's dad.
drop me. No, he. So this is a funny story. I don't know how old I was. How old was I?
You've been 15.
15. And if you know me as a 15-year-old, I thought I was King Dick. And so I walked.
Probably 120 kilos.
I came over to yeah, about that. Well, I came over to Charlie's one time, and he's like, "Oh, my old man does karate," and I was like, "Oh, karate's pretty gay." I'm a street fighter.
I remember I was there.
Oh, you were there.
I was
You
there.
were there. I can't remember. I'm suppressed the trauma. And he's like,
Suppressed
yeah. I do a bit of karate. I do all this. I do that. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, what do you know? He's like, oh well, there's. And then he started throwing all this lingo. I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, oh well, you just.
Yeah, he just grabbed your wrist
just
and turned it.
bat, and then it just had me. Yeah, had me. I'm like,
Well,
oh, that's pretty
the
cool.
thing. It's a bit of a misconception with karate because his style is fundamentally karate and jiu-jitsu. So they do a lot of wrist locks and stuff. So he's been doing that for 50 years now. So he's 7th dan in Wateroo karate. Yeah, really.
He
old school.
was a champion in England as well. What's the England story?
No, he came to Australia on a boat when he was 16. So he's
For real?
Yeah, he came here. He arrived here in 1965. So yeah, he was born in the 40s. So yeah.
Wait, didn't he win some He was
Oh,
a
yeah,
world
he-
champion in England?
No, he was a Victorian champ and an Australian champ in Australia.
Oh, so he came here when he was 16. Man, my story's all muddled up. I thought he won some championships in England.
No. It's one of the main styles out there. It's not a super popular style out here because it's not really that well known out here. Like you have your main styles out here, like Sugar Kai, like Tambo. I think Tambo did like Shotokan.
Shotokan, which is is that a kata?
Yeah, no. Obviously they have a lot of fun. Like,
So for people watching, like, so there's as per competition.
Kokushinkai, Shotokan, Sugar Kai, and like Goju or Goru or something like that.
Goku.
What are you talking about?
The four main styles of karate.
I think there's different types of karate.
Yeah.
Different schools. So people.
The four main styles out of Japan.
Different teachers will create their own style in Japan.
But there could be heaps, but where these are just the most recognized
Main
ones.
ones.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
If you
in
seen,
the Olympics,
if you've seen Cobra Kai, the two different schools.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
different
It'd be
schools?
kind of like that. I
Like for
guess.
example, like GSP, he did Kokushinkai. Is that correct?
Kyokushin.
Yeah, Kokushin. Yeah, Kokushin.
That's Kyokushinkai is Kyokushin is the most combat.
Yeah, yeah.
So K1, which is the kickboxing that I like, the style of kickboxing I do, is a combination of Kyokushin karate and kickboxing, American kickboxing.
Wow.
And I think in the Olympics, correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, there's two sort of ways of karate. One is kata, which is like the dancing, and then we have
It's a demonstration.
It's a demonstration, yeah, and then
I can't say
kumite,
these things.
which is
No,
fighting.
They're the styles of karate.
Yeah, right.
I've got to crack, but nah.
Goju, Ryu,
Goju-Ryu?
Shotokan, Shoto Ryu,
Shukukai.
yeah, Wado, which is
So many of
yeah,
them.
there's
Wado?
heaps.
Oh,
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu's there. Is that jiu-jitsu or...
Shout out.
Jiu-jitsu is a branch of karate, but that's Japanese jiu-jitsu,
not.
which is separate to
Yeah.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but their fundamentals are all the same. But like the Brazilians obviously took that and did their own thing with it, put their own twist on it.
Yeah, well, I think that sort of
There's a lot of history there. There's a lot to unpack there.
so
I just
much.
said like such a broad. I just threw that out there, but there's a lot to unpack.
Do you know much about the history?
Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah, I've had a few conversations with the BJ about it. A few like broad.
Where did it stem? I've always wondered that. How did it go from, because they're opposite hemispheres, Japan all the way to Brazil.
Yeah, it's a long way. And it all happened in the 20th century, I believe. Have you ever seen the Kimura fight? Kimura and the old school. I can't remember his name now. It's lost me. The original Gracie.
Hoist Gracie.
Yeah, I think it was Hoist. So obviously karate's been around forever, and but his name was Kimura. I can't remember it. Kimura.
Obviously, the one who
Masafumi.
created the.
Yeah,
Kimura.
so like he coined the term. For people who don't know, Kimura is a
Oh, you got to point at me. I know what it is.
For
Yeah.
It's like
for
this.
people who don't know anything about it,
Hey, I fucking know what that is, alright?
Yeah, so obviously all.
my man's watches UFC.
Oh, nice.
Is that right?
Don't know. Not sure. Keep going, Jim. Keep going.
Keep going, Jamie. You'll get there.
Yes, it's actually on YouTube for people to look it up. It's Kimura versus, was it Hoist Gracie?
Hoist Gracie.
Yeah, so that was in the 50s. And that was the first time that I think Jiu-Jitsu had really come to the Western world,
Yeah.
maybe?
Because around that period of time, they really liked fucking with what was the best combat sort of combat style.
They started, that's where like the integration of MMA sort of...
Yeah, it slowly started coming because they would have karate guys come and fight boxers.
Yeah, there's boxers
and Muhammad
versus
Ali
wrestlers.
fought like Jean LaBelle and all this. Yeah, that's right.
So, and that's
It's a real mix of styles.
yeah.
On those early videos of the UFC, like I know I'm fast forwarding 50 years, but the early videos of like the UFC where it's like that big sumo wrestler versus like that little boxer. Have you seen him?
Yeah.
He gets kicked in the teeth and knocks all his teeth out.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "What the hell?"
Who wins, the big guy or the little guy?
I'm pretty sure the sumo was matched up against a kickboxer, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, the sumo guy is going to smash this guy." You know, about 10 seconds in or 20 seconds in, and the sumo guy just gets one kick to the face, knocks all his teeth out, and he knocks to the ground, and he gets a few more punches, and it's just all over Red Rover. There's nothing, but like people don't understand. They go, "Oh, this person has 50, 60 kilos on this person. There's no way." And it doesn't take much more than one punch to the face before people realise they don't want to fight anymore.
But when you're that immobile, I think that's what it is. Like if like a 95 kilo heavyweight that's mobile versus the little dude.
Well, yeah, it was just the ultimate matchup of styles. That was the first time we've seen a no holes barred for the people that have seen the first 10 UFCs. It was just crazy. Like you could strike to the groin. I think the only rule was you couldn't eye gouge and you couldn't spit, but you could strike to the spine.
Who was the really
12-6?
You could 12-6, yeah.
12-6.
Everyone's
It was
everyone's
literally
seen that.
no holes barred.
Everyone's seen that video of I can't remember the guy. I won't. Doesn't matter.
Ken Shamrock.
No, the guy who was getting elbowed 12-6 was Ken Shamrock, and so this dude had Ken Shamrock in a crucifix. To explain
knocked
this,
him out. Yeah.
is picture someone laying flat and then someone behind them with their arms grabbing one arm and then with their legs crossed over grabbing the other.
He was a black man.
I forgot what his name is. He was really.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I watched it. Yeah,
Jamie. So yeah, he had Ken Shamrock's arm and he was just going bang 12-6, knocked the guy out completely.
So with the 12-6, if you're in like a top mount, you can't go.
No.
But you can go.
Correct.
But,
And I think it was from that fight. But who was the really Hanzo Gracie? He was probably the most successful in the early days.
I don't think it was him.
Wasn't it him?
Nah. Oh, maybe you are right.
I think it was Hanzo Gracie.
Can you pull that up, Jamie? The winner of the first UFC 1 and 2? I think he won a couple consecutively.
So I think it was that dude with the mustache, Dan Seven.
Nah, he did win a couple, I think,
Yeah.
but he was not him.
No,
The one
it wasn't him.
Basically, he didn't even know any striking. This guy, we'll just call him the Gracie. The Gracie that went in, he didn't know any striking, but he would faint and then he would get the takedown. And then once he had them on the ground, doesn't matter how big they were, how good they were in his world. And jiu-jitsu, I guess you could say, was pretty basic back then. Even though he was like a high-level world champion, he only had to use the basic techniques. It was, I think he got most of them with the arm bars or guillotine, just kept him in mount and cooked them. And they didn't have an answer for the things that he was presenting. They had no answer. And there was no time limit.
No time limit?
No round, no time limit back then.
Uncomfortable thing to realise as a striker is that a grappler can have his way very easily.
But back then, it wasn't fashionable to say it.
It was Royce Gracie.
Royce.
It was Royce Gracie.
UFC 1, 2, and 4.
Royce Gracie, yep.
He was a beast.
Yeah.
He had to pull out of 3, I think, because he hurt himself.
Well, that goes on the modern day. Khabib is the version of that.
Correct.
Like I saw our boy Matt Barlow. Shout out Matt Barlow.
Shout out Bars.
Commented on a Khabib thing, saying like he's the most boring fighter he's ever watched.
There's people that don't understand it.
And I completely disagree. I think he's amazing to watch Khabib.
Because there's
He
people
mauls motherfuckers, man.
You know what you got to consider is that there's people who use grappling to kill time.
Yeah.
Khabib has the work rate and the cardio to just bang and bang and bang. He gets on top and he smash.
The thing about Khabib is he's like as exactly as he's saying, he's not lying on top of them. What's happening?
He's not.
Because I'm talking about UFC. Is that
No.
is that what's wrong here?
It's not like that at all, man.
Is that what's wrong?
It's really not.
I'm talking about fucking UFC. Is that the problem?
Anyways, moving on.
We can edit that out. 'Cause my mum's been calling me, messaging me. That's all. That's fine to do.
Oh, you too?
Yeah. Can you just mention my mum back and just say... We'll edit all this out. Can you just mention my mum back and say, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be over in an hour.
Oh, you still on me this week?
Man, I'm on you.
Why you gotta be so on me?
I had to. That was there. That was like sitting.
You know what rhymes with on me?
Yonmi. That was sick, my boy.
Charlie,
That tops.
when did
that
you
tops
watch
last week's?
Yeonmi? Is it Yeonmi? Is that?
That's
I
gotta
assume
be.
that's how you say it. Yeonmi Park.
I have no idea how to say her name.
We're about to talk about North Korea, so if you're like a Chinese spy or something, look.
Please
away.
tune out. Please tune out.
But every person I've talked to, well, not every person, but 80% of the cool people I've talked to have said, have you watched this podcast?
Yeah.
And people have been bugging me. People have been bugging me to watch it. And, I finally got some time to watch half of it today.
So did you watch all the North Korea stuff? And then
Yeah,
they
I
started
got
talking
through
about
most of it.
current
And they
stuff?
started talking about a bit of jazz. And I was like, okay, cool.
Everyone who watches it puts out like this call to arms sort of like PSA thing, like, guys, please watch this. Please watch this. And it's
like cult-like
it is.
now.
Look, yeah, it's like what?
Cult-like.
It's cult-like. It is cult-like, and I think everyone gets the same sort of fear when they watch it. You know what I mean? 'Cause it does hit home. It does like ring a few alarm bells. And I'm like,
It's invoking.
this shit familiar.
It's invoking.
Well, it's not like, I know that he's not right about when he brings up Australia and he says there's military.
I haven't seen that.
Correct, because it's not.
He says there's military like helicopters telling people to go back inside, and we're not allowed.
Yeah, but it's easy to get a misconception.
So
of that.
he's wrong, but like especially
Well, there's police helicopters.
They do the whole episode, and well, I hear a helicopter above my house every single night.
No.
3 today.
In Sydney, the helicopters are now using like microphone or megaphones to announce.
Oh, so he is right. That is happening in Australia.
That's
Oh, wait,
happening,
you
but it's
didn't
not
know that?
military.
I didn't know there was.
Oh yeah, no, they've been telling people for weeks now.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've been at basketball courts like.
Caitlin, drop one of the videos.
You sit right here, maybe have some audio in there, playing basketball, and they're like, hey, please, the police have been called, please return to your homes.
Speaking of that, we'll go back to the On Me. But did you guys see my Instagram? I went to fucking play basketball, and they had fucking cable tied the
I was
hoop.
telling people.
They put a cable tie around the hoop.
I was telling people
Damn.
at work. I was like,
Do you want my ladder? Do you want my ladder?
No, I'm going to cut it for sure. I was planning to cut it today, and then we'd talk about it tonight.
Man, I was.
But Caitlin, drop the video of the fucking
Let's
cable tie
show.
hoop, because me and Mace, like,
What they've done.
kids are fucking pretty stitched up right now, right?
Very
Don't
stitched
shoot
up.
a
Like,
bastard.
they've just...
They don't deserve to play in the playgrounds.
They don't, fuck 'em. But they...
Shout out to my kids.
Me and Mace, we went. I did a little podcast,
Shout out,
guest feature. Shout out to Jake's people for a mate. I was a guest on a podcast yesterday. I did that. Took 2 hours, longer than I expected. So I said, "Sorry, mate. What do you want to do? Like, I'm sorry that took most of my day. What do you want to do? Oh, let's ride the bike. Let's ride the bike and go down to the fucking basketball court, shoot some hoops." Wrong. It was cable tied, and since I've looked into it, I was speaking to the company that makes all the basketball courts, and like that was good because they're detaching the hoop from like every basketball ring. They're actually unscrewing it.
Well, there's solid evidence to suggest that those hoops are one of the main causes.
But we'll go into COVID later.
Yeah.
We want to talk about North Korea right now. Well, what did you think of? I'll tell you what, Joe Rogan should probably.
What did I
sponsor
think,
us.
or what did I get told to think?
What did you get told to think? I saw Joe Rogan said on another podcast, he said, if what she's saying is true, because I'd say the same thing, how are we going to fucking prove it?
There's no verification.
How are we going to prove it?
Yeah.
She could literally say whatever she wanted.
Oh, I would have said worse things if I was her. No, she's done a great job. Anyone who makes it to that stage and is able to get a platform of that nature, the biggest platform in the world, arguably, like they've made it. Like, she can say whatever she likes. She seems genuine, but
You know what
she's
would
done
really
great.
confirm what she said? Is if she gets assassinated.
Oh my god. If she gets assassinated,
If
yeah.
she gets assassinated,
But before, like, we've seen it now because she's on Joe Rogan, but she's been doing this. She's been...
shout out to Pizza Guys.
Shout out Pizza Guy, yeah. She's been... This is not new for her. She's been a huge social activist
going
for
around,
a couple
for
of
a
years,
while.
I think. But what I was thinking, like, it sounds so unbelievable, of course, to such a privileged culture, but if you were to make up lies, would you go on Joe Rogan and make up those lies?
No, I personally,
I would not lie on
I
Joe
think she's
Rogan's
genuine.
podcast.
I think she's genuine.
I think she's really genuine, which is really fucked up. I hope she's not.
No. What's wrong?
No.
So Ahmad's just talking shit to me on this laptop. Fuck you, man.
You upset? You upset?
No. We he thinks I'm not letting you talk, which I do.
Which is not. And you know what? He asked me to let him know
Yeah,
when.
yeah.
We're all good.
If everyone wondering, it's okay.
I was just trying to do it like.
But
under wraps.
whenever you see me and Samad just lean over and do something like this, it means we're talking shit to
we're
each other.
talking shit.
But
Okay.
yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's all good.
Just shut the fuck up.
Well, for those of you who haven't really seen, I don't even know how to pronounce her name. How do we pronounce it?
Yeonmi Park.
Yeonmi Park. Yeah, it's a great story, but anyone who hasn't seen it by now, well, a lot of people wouldn't have even heard about it, but you should go watch it. You should go at least watch the first half of it. And I tried to watch a little bit of it, or I tried to watch most of them when I'm driving Joe Rogan, as we all do, service. But just the audio, obviously, yeah. Right. But like, it was actually too raw to listen to while I was driving. I was like, damn, like this is too much. Like I had to stop it. Like when I was driving, I was like, couldn't listen to it. It's just too much.
I need to concentrate on
It's
this.
just too much. Like,
Yeah.
it's just raw, and it's just like, wow. And and then even when you sit down and watch it, like today I was watching it, and she is just she starts telling you about, spoiler that, but like her mother's getting raped, or like someone's getting raped, and then she starts. Like, she tells you about how she had things she had to go through, and she starts bawling her eyes out, and you're like, damn, like, this is like really, she's really struggling to like hold back these tears.
She had to collect poo. Each household has to collect
1
poo.
ton.
1 ton of poo a year.
What kind of like unreachable number is that?
Because as she said, they only poo like 2 times a month.
Yeah, so I think a bit
Sorry,
of
what?
Yeah, she said on.
Have you seen it, Simon?
I've seen some of it, but yeah.
They
So-
only poo 2 times a month.
I think a bit of a backstory, maybe a little bit. So, what would you say are the most extreme things? People don't really have much of a concept of North Korea, but let's just say it's 100 times worse than what you thought it would be.
Yes.
So
They
have
do joke around about, like, there's movies made. They joke
So
around about
they
starving
control.
their people.
She actually said herself. The only thing they don't control is your breathing. They control your haircut, what you wear, what you say. I think some of the basically they cut off all the food to the wider population, and they only feed the capital. Is that right?
That's
and
right.
you can't actually have your own farmland. You can't have your own animals, and so it's illegal to make your own food. And also they cut the food off. So her source of protein was grasshoppers. And it's crazy. And she said she goes to the train station and people are just dead. Like, that's where people go and they die. A lot of dead bodies at the train station.
What about the hospital story?
Yeah, that was You feel free to take that one.
She went is it to get her appendix removed? or
Yeah, she
something?
went to get her appendix. Oh, and they had one needle for every single patient. So for the whole hospital or for that room. So they used the same needle on X amount of people for the day. How do you feel about that as a medical practitioner?
It's not very antimicrobial.
It's not what I'm about.
It's not what I'm about. It's
Yep, so there's complete... It's the opposite of freedom of speech. So there's complete control.
Dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's just disgusting. They last year went up and rounded up all of the dogs in North Korea. Like, if you had a dog, they came and took it because... And, like, she doesn't know. She assumes they're all dead now.
Yeah.
But...
Of course they would be.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do with all these dogs?
No
Like,
one's
they
after
said
them.
this is too Western to love an animal.
Yeah.
This is far too Western. He fucking hates Western culture.
Yeah.
Hates it, man.
It was like an icon of Western culture. Yeah, that makes sense. Or what it makes sense why he would have done it. I think one of the most extreme things that he actually said was that obviously, so if you make a mistake or if you show political dissent of any nature or anything that they consider an executable offense, they kill you. They wipe out whole bloodlines.
They
kill
wipe
you.
out bloodlines.
They kill you. They kill your family. They kill generations. And like people that are in internment camps right now for things their grandfathers did in World War II.
Yeah.
So like 80 years.
Yeah.
80 years. And like she was saying, they currently have 700 people in concentration camps and death camps. So it's a real life genocide happening right now. And the only reason they're able to sustain this support is because of China.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to support
And of course their nuclear program.
yeah, but a lot of people don't realise that North Korea and South Korea are actually connected to the mainland of China.
Yeah.
So they're the only people, or one of the only people, supporting North Korea.
I can't remember all the China stuff, like what she was saying and how China's involved with North Korea exactly, but...
They give them oil. That's how North Korea gets oil.
Yeah.
So the only exports that North Korea have are drugs and human trafficking.
Yes.
Yeah, so Kim Jong-un, whatever it is, they sell heroin and meth, or opium and meth, and human trafficking, and they actually supplied the Middle East with weaponry.
He's
Is
the
that
world's biggest
Is
gang
that
leader.
is that
Yeah.
open knowledge? Is that open knowledge?
Or not, I don't know. Like,
That's what Yeonmi suggested? Because obviously, if this was open to, I'd say, the UN or even America or whatever,
the UN don't care.
there'd be some sort of. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think
There should be some recourse, right?
I don't think they can care because of the fact that they are rogue nuclear militants.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But also, they're so...
And they're not afraid to use it. They
They're
got
so-
it, and they're not afraid to use it.
But they're so connected to China.
That's the problem. That is exactly the problem, because if you fuck with North Korea, you're fucking with China.
Which it goes into detail, and we all know Mao. Mao's China. Mao's son died in the Korean War, 52. So basically,
Who's
Mao was a dictator.
Mao Zedong.
Yeah, he was
He
a
was the
dictator.
previous president. Oh, sorry, 2 presidents ago of.
He was the
China.
Supreme Chancellor of China for.
And his son died in a war with North Korea.
Yeah, so Mao was a dictator in the 20th century for 50 years, for example. Might want to fact check
I
that.
got a little bit of history on this. So China used to be a democracy, and I think America's.
I'm not ready.
He's not ready.
not
Other
ready.
way. I'm actually pretty.
This is
Pretty slow.
Not my usual drink.
So America was doing really well, and China was losing economic power. All right, fine, I suppose. Didn't get much of a say in it. China was losing economic power, and so on the DL, Mao Zedong was forming the Chinese Communist Republic or party, whatever, and they overthrew the democracy, and that's how they became a Communist Party. Under their regime, they started becoming totalitarian, and I think the biggest history event was the killing of Tiananmen Square. So a bunch of university students realized that, so initially all the Chinese people supported.
It's in Hong Kong?
No, it's in Beijing.
Yeah, okay, right.
And all the students, so initially all the Chinese people supported communism because the idea was good. Everyone's equal.
The idea is always good.
The idea is always good.
The idea is always good.
Communism is great. We should all embrace it, right?
It's honestly on paper it looks great, but everyone supported it, and then obviously things started turning out wrong, and the university students were the only ones who were speaking up. So they decided to protest.
The intellectuals.
They decided to protest in Tiananmen Square, which is like a sort of like a hub.
What happened?
Well, they slaughtered all of them.
How?
They killed them all.
Yeah.
With guns.
With
The
guns.
army,
I think
the
there's
army.
actually they ran them over with tanks.
Tanks, yeah.
They ran them
the
over with
army
tanks.
ordered
So
them.
let's say like
This is a long time ago. I'm not too fluid. He seems to know the
1980.
backstory.
Can we check that?
But yeah,
Jamie?
what's
We're
it
on-
called? The killing of.
Tiananmen Square.
Tiananmen Square.
Tian
Yeah, but it's full on, no
MEN.
doubt.
Square.
So like, let's say the freedom protest of today. What they're doing.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
killed
just
their
picture-
protesters.
just
in relative terms.
Just picture, what's it called? Dan Andrews ordering, bang, the tanks go, run over, and just shoot everyone.
But that's literally what it is, right?
That's
Yeah.
what
But
happened.
political dissent has never been tolerated in China. Even today, if you were to badmouth Jinping, whatever his name is his name Xing?
Something like
Xing
that.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. I think you'd be waking up in the middle of the night and you'd be taken by a man in a black suit.
Well, they have total control. I mean, they're not a communism. They're not
Well,
a communist state anymore, but
No, they technically are, but they
but
don't.
they still run the same.
Yeah, so they have communism fundamentals, but they literally have the most millionaires in the world. So obviously that couldn't exist. Like economically, they're not communist, but fundamental principles in regards to political system, they are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like as far as the way they operate in their society, they are 100%. Everything's owned by the state.
Yeah, and it's
never a good thing.
so what I do know about China is that they keep a close circle, and they pretty much
They have
keep,
social credit scores.
they have social credit scores, but they keep contracts. So a lot of like the work is controlled by the government. So it's not like Matt, you own a home and you hire out a contractor to come build for you. It's the government decides what gets built, and they decide who gets the contract.
You got the killing of Tiananmen Square.
So
that how I say it?
Tiananmen Square.
You can control that.
Let's go. 1989 Tiananmen Square protests. Yeah, I think the death toll was definitely something.
Is it that?
Couldn't tell you.
Anyway.
I don't know. Thousands killed. Anyways, so they hand out contracts to specific people, so that they create a network of rich people, while everyone else is sort of shunned out to the sides. District 12s. So that's how they control the power. There is no uprisings. There is no corporations who pose a threat because they control the wealth, and obviously no one's richer than the government. And I think that is what a lot of I suppose branch states. That's the same sort of framework that they take off, except that North Korea is like, you know what's better than using wealth to control our country?
Let's use an AK-47.
AK-47.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to say. That so obviously they kill whole bloodlines, but one official from the North Korean government escaped to China, and they killed 35,000 people. Well, she didn't say they killed; she said they purged.
Who killed?
The government. But that was the ripple effect.
Oh,
of that
because
one
of that person.
That one person escaping.
Ugh.
The ripple effect was 35,000 purged, which means we all know what purge means. I mean, yeah, it's like those people were gotten rid of, but they probably weren't kept alive. Well, she said
No.
purged.
It's very interesting because like social media is banned over there.
Obviously.
In North Korea or China.
China.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
North Korea definitely.
Obviously,
China.
yeah.
Once I watched the Yeonmi Park episode, I was like, now I'm sure there was some American dude that like got all fucked up in North Korea.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember
The
that?
journalist.
Yeah.
No.
He was just a high school
His
jock.
name's Otto Wan.
He was a high school
Wandy or
jock.
something. He was a high school jock that went in Wyoming.
Yeah,
from-
yeah.
And he was about to start this job with his dad, right? And he's like, you know what? Before that, you know where I'm going to spend New Year's?
North Korea.
North Korea. Which, like...
Well, I had friends try and hit me up and say, hey, do you want to go snowboarding? It was a shout out to Jacob. It wasn't Jacob's idea. It was another friend of ours. And he wanted to go to North Korea for snowboarding. I said, hey, man, probably not. Maybe another time.
I don't know if any flights actually go in. Like,
No, they do.
No, you can
go
go
to North
You
Korea.
can go to North Korea, but you can go to... They have a designated tour street or streets where you can go. And if
It's
you
the
leave,
centre.
if you leave your apartment without your guide, you both get executed.
You're allowed in your own hotel.
Yeah.
Without your tour guide. You're not allowed outside the hotel.
Otherwise, you
without a tour
both get
guide.
executed. So your tour guide will be executed, but they only let you see the good side of it. It's like
Yeah.
they have like it's like a facade.
Yeah.
So
I
I
should-
watched this YouTube video on like what's North Korea like, and it's just like any other Asian country in the world. There's parties, there's this, there's that. Everyone's sort of doing their own thing. Everyone's got a different haircut. Everyone's wearing whatever they want.
It's a lie.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed outside of that direct center.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure what the kilometer radius and how big it is.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed outside.
Wait,
there,
do you want to
so,
go there?
What? Let's
It's like that.
fuck it.
We're going next episode of Onlockcast.
But like, why would you even go? Like, I understand the
Curiosity.
allure of
Curiosity.
curiosity, but you're not fucking seeing anything.
Well, Reese would go. Shout out to Reese Lyons.
But you're not seeing anything. You're just seeing.
Well, I think it's a novelty that wears off fairly quickly.
I suppose it's like the same thing with going to any country, but people just want to go there so they can say they've been there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Shout out to Mexico.
Shout out Mexico.
But so the Otto thing is, he took down a poster, a propaganda poster, an
what an
anti-US poster.
Idiot.
And like, I'm positive that the tour company and whatnot would have said, "Don't do this. Don't fucking do this.
You're gonna get everyone
Don't
killed.
fucking do this." But
You're
so
gonna get everyone killed, including yourself.
he was
Especially yourself.
he was drunk right at 2 a.m.
Oh,
and there was a
this
poster,
is why you don't go to North Korea.
right? And he took the poster off because he was gonna take it like as a souvenir, and he rolled it up, and then he went like, I've seen the camera footage, and he went, this is a bad idea, and just put it on the ground. And so the next person's walked past and seen this poster on the ground, and obviously they don't fall down, and they've gone, we'll check the cameras on that one. He was about to get into the taxi to go home, I believe. He got a fucking.
No, he was at the airport.
He's at the airport. He was about to leave.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, sorry, no.
They tapped him on the shoulder and said, "You come with us." He got sentenced to 15 months hard labour after having to do a confession saying that he was set up by the US intelligence to.
Which he would have definitely been coerced.
They would have
absolutely.
tortured him to the point where he would have
Definitely.
admitted to
But
it.
so 15 months hard labour, and then what happened was, I'm definitely getting this wrong, but 3 months in he got sick or something.
Oh, you butchered it.
went into a coma and never came out of it.
So you did 15 years hard labour.
It was 15 years.
15 years.
But he was only there for
15
about
months or years?
15
years.
15
Did I say
years.
months?
And Trump said they were going to get him out.
15 years. But yeah, what happened was about 15 months into it, he was in a coma for 12 of them, and they
Yeah.
went, "Fuck it, he's just wasting resources. Come
And
get him."
they basically bludgeoned him to the point he was in a coma.
But there's no
There's no
proof
evidence.
of any
There's no
torture.
trauma.
There's
no
no
trauma.
proof of any torture.
Well, he lost a couple front teeth or something.
No, their
Something
parents say that he's
His teeth were all...
because he got
Reconstruct.
flown back
Yeah.
and was taken off life support like 2 days later.
Yeah.
But his parents said that his bottom teeth were all rearranged. But like they've had experts and they go, there would be some signs of
Yeah.
if they took his teeth out and put them back in, there would be some signs of some stress on that.
Yeah.
But his teeth were in all different positions. He had a shaved head. He was like
Well, I think that
20 kilos. Like it was all fucked up, all because he took down a poster.
I think the craziest part of that podcast was when she was explaining that you have in every single room you have to have a picture of King John. King John. Every single room.
Every single room.
room.
And you have people come around.
Well, yeah, there's inspectors that come around. It could be in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. I don't know if you heard this, but it could be 2 in the morning. And if he comes around and that picture's not up there, it's punishable by death. But if that picture has dust on it, he has a dust detector. If that picture has dust, that's punishable by death. So
Wow.
that is probably that's. I think when Joe.
Have you
Joe
guys
asked
seen
him-
that? Have you guys seen that video? Can't tell if it's a piss take or not. But the guy was talking about is like, if you burn the food, straight to jail. Believe it or not, if you undercook the food,
Jail.
straight to jail.
Yeah, I see that.
What's it in reference to?
It's just a meme.
Oh.
And the people use it like
Just a funny meme, guys.
just,
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
just a gag. Just a gag.
Just take a fucking joke, right?
That's got to be the worst case of totalitarianism.
That's as bad as it gets, and that's like when people
North Korea.
like
Yeah.
and like maybe we'll go into sort of where we are at the moment because as you said before, when you're watching it, you're getting sort of freaky little vibes.
Well, they actually
going.
referenced this book a few times.
George Orwell's
She literally.
1984.
Well, she was
For anyone who hasn't read the book, it's based on
dystopian future.
a future, like dystopian future, where the one world government takes over.
It was like 2020, wasn't it? That was the fucked up thing about it.
No. So
No.
it was written in the 1930s about 1984. About 1984.
Okay.
But it's happening now. But thing is, it was happening in the uprising of the communist regimes, essentially. Yeah. So he references a lot of that. So in the 1930s and stuff, like the communist regimes of Russia and Stalin were well and truly underway.
Yeah.
So he actually it was like a premonition. He foresaw the future of like what the harmful things that could actually come out of these regimes.
And it's very like I definitely do wonder if back in the day you mentioned Stalin, which is pretty much what's going on in like North Korea. Stalin was doing the same thing. He was
it's even worse.
He was worse. He was cutting off roads, blowing up trucks that were trying to deliver food, and literally killing his own people. I think.
Well, I think he's responsible for about
Still
50 million deaths. He was worse. You can make a good case that he was worse than Hitler, and the worst.
Way worse than
Yeah,
Hitler.
but people don't even know his name.
Back from a little sponsor break, guys. And also, I just want to point out that this was full. Time really flies, and so does Scotch when.
And we all have coke in it now because we're bitches.
Because it got real. It got real. Yeah, we were just talking about totalitarianism. Kim Jong-un. Shout out Kim Jong-un. Stalin.
Hitler was mentioned.
We mentioned some things, and off camera, I think we all started chatting about the situation now, and some things are being forced on us at the moment, and by some things,
And how it's reminiscent of North Korea.
Simon, things are being forced on us. Hey Simon, the vaccine's available. Okay.
Things are being forced on us. Inject me, daddy. Inject me, daddy.
Hey, these are nowhere near
things are
mandatory
being
yet.
forced-
Okay, I'll do it. I'll
Things
do
are being
it.
forced on us.
The first person in Australia to get the vaccine.
This guy.
I'll do it. Ooh, pick me.
If you had 5 children, what percentage of those children would you put them up for trial children's studies?
120%.
Good answer.
Ooh, pick me. You know what? I've
Pick number 3, my lord.
But have I ever died from a vaccine? Have you
No,
ever
you're
died from a
fine.
vaccine?
You're fine. Oh,
Someone-
shout out to Clive. He's had 2. He's still fine.
I've
Still,
also
he's
had
old.
to, but actually, someone we know.
Someone in this room has had someone close to them affected greatly. So I know someone who has what was it? It was
Bowel palsy?
blood clots in their lungs and inability to bend their leg
From fluid
It
retention.
sounds suboptimal.
after the jab.
It was directly correlated with the jab.
Well,
We don't
nothing else had changed.
know.
Nothing else had fucking changed.
Yeah.
But you know, there's always like, there's always a risk with any compound you take because
Well, so hang on. So you admit there's risk. So where there's risk, should there be choice?
definitely,
Hey.
Okay, so what we're having now is we're not having a choice.
definitely.
And yeah, being
But for
railroaded
example,
and taken.
if your kid is about to run into traffic,
Oh, another fucking analogy.
analogies are good. If your kid's about to run into traffic, it should be given a choice to take that risk, right? Shouldn't it?
No, you coach them in the younger years of their life to not do that. And you,
No, but what if you're not coaching and it goes to run off to do something dumb? You stop it, right?
Of course.
Would you? Would you not want to give it the choice to make that choice?
So you're saying we're all dumb to make our own decisions?
Yeah, essentially, that's why we hire government to make public health choices.
Yeah, and
Because everyone thinks they're smart because they've read shit on Google, but no one's doctors. You don't go see yourself when you're sick.
yeah. Well, research is a skill in itself. Look, I can say I've researched, but like my level
Shout
of,
out to the naturopaths, alright?
my level of research to a bioepidemiologist
It's like
is I don't know.
it's
how
like
to
your
research.
level of exercise compared to 2013 summer
Yeah.
level of
Talking
exercise.
like two professional athletes here.
We're back.
Totalitarianism.
We're back.
Kaylin, I'm sorry, you got a bit of work to do this episode.
All I can say is, wow.
Anyway, so the audio was pretty shit, but I just made a really good point. That basically,
The kid thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's alright.
it was a good point. It's a risk. The kid's willing to take the risk. Do you allow it because he should have choice? He or she should have choice? No, you don't. You take control. And I think in a sense, we're like kids where the researchers are making the calls. Some of the calls are obviously stupid, but I think some of those calls aren't the scientific researchers making them. Like, it's definitely like Dan himself probably saying, or, you know, whoever's in charge of...
It's politicized.
It's politicized. Like, the politics, like, some of it is to obviously get the people to do what they say, which has no scientific backing, like the curfew, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of it's scientific backing, like the 1.5 minutes distance, the vaccination.
Yeah.
And
But the science is continually changing.
the science, but that's the nature of science. Science
That's what
always
changes.
changes.
It's growth.
Correct. Like,
Yeah. I just want to take this opportunity to personally congratulate Sarmad for being a part of the biggest experimental vaccine trial in the history of him.
Hey!
It wouldn't be possible without him. Yeah.
you want to know something interesting?
Yes.
Everyone says that the vaccine is in trials. The vaccine has finished phase 3 of trials and is actually in phase 4 of trials now. To put
Right now.
to put that before everyone started getting it, to put that into perspective, most of the drugs that people use in hospital are in phase 4 drugs.
What about the drugs that Jamie uses?
The ones where he uses to pull up all the stuff.
Yeah. The Siamese.
The same
MDMA
as
drugs.
MDMA cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most drugs that like you'll go into hospital for serious conditions are in phase 4.
So
Which
what's phase 4?
So phase 4 is post-clinical surveillance. So
But
But are these phases rushed?
no, but let's be serious. Most vaccines are like properly done trials, and they're not rushed in a state of emergency under that guise. Like, for example, the Hep B vaccine took 4 years to make, and like most vaccines take 10 years, right? But this one was rushed through in a year. I get it, like it's special circumstances, and maybe there was some benefit for that, but obviously they don't know the risks of pregnancy and how it affects other not vaccinations but medications and children
Medications and
and
stuff.
so on and so forth. But like there's an argument to be made there, right?
the thing that's been rushed has been the approval.
Mm.
So not the actual studies.
It's great that we have someone informed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Pfizer vaccine, that's a relatively new technology, but that's also something that's been researched the last.
What about the mRNA? Because I think there's a lot of
mRNA
confusion around that.
So mRNA therapy has been researched the last, like I say, 10 years.
But not used in vaccines, right?
Not used in vaccines.
That's
but,
go on.
But it's been used, like the compounds are being used. I haven't came across it in my.
But you didn't have that,
degree.
right? You had a different one that didn't
I had
have
the
that.
AstraZeneca.
Yeah.
So the AstraZeneca has been. That's how most of our vaccines are. So they're
It's a live
conjugate.
virus?
Pardon?
Live virus?
It's not a live virus. No,
No.
it's attenuated virus, which means a virus that's been killed.
This is far above my pay grade.
Conjugated
Mhm.
to an antigen. So conjugated means it's linked
Mhm.
with a protein, and the antigen is what our immune system recognizes,
Sure.
and the antigen is like a part of DNA.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much like picture a hand going in your body and saying, "Here, immune system, please amass a response to this bit of DNA,"
Yes.
which is what the spike protein is.
Yes.
So your antibodies will be specific for the spike protein.
So I think there's a lot of confusion around the spike protein. Sorry to jump in there, but do they continue reproducing? Do they just continue indefinitely, infinitum, for example? Do they just continue? Like, there's a
No.
lot of speculation on that.
So the
I've seen a
spike-
few expert opinions on Facebook.
So that's
saying
what
do
they say
continue.
about the mRNA, but so the AstraZeneca, it can't keep reproducing. Well, with the mRNA, it can't either. But the AstraZeneca, like, it intuitively can't because
Is that nonsense then?
let's say there's 10 particles of this vaccine. In order to keep producing spike protein, you need replicating particles.
Boosters.
So these particles, these particles are dead viruses. They can't keep replicating. With the mRNA, they say that the mRNA keeps replicating itself and then
The
creating
spike
more
protein.
spike protein. Yeah, mRNA can't replicate itself.
But okay.
So mRNA is like your DNA will go to tRNA and then tRNA will get bent into mRNA.
Mm-hmm.
So picture, these are languages, right? So your DNA is like your base language that creates another language which tells your body's proteins what to make.
Which part's altered by the mercury?
Which part gives you autism?
Continue.
So basically the mRNA is just a sort of code. A code that uses like machinery to create the spike protein antigen. It's not a full spike protein. It's just the antigen. And an antigen is like a section, like a fifth.
So in summary, do you think it would be fair to say that it's nonsense that the spike protein does replicate at infinitum?
Yeah.
Do
Because
you think that's nonsense?
I think it's nonsense.
That's the general consensus on Facebook that, as a Facebook doctor certified, that it does reproduce infinitum. And that's the general concern in people. But I don't even know what a reproducing spike protein even means.
How confident are you that this is a completely safe vaccine?
It's not a completely safe vaccine, but it's as safe as any other
Well,
vaccine.
I think that
Safe as any other vaccine that my kids are fully immunised.
Yeah.
it would have
That
to
you are
safe
forced, you're pretty much forced to immunise.
You're forced to immunise
Immunise
your
your
kids.
kids.
Well,
absolutely.
I think
Do you
it's
know what I
nonsense
mean?
to say it's exactly the same efficacy as far as safety. Because look at all the things, like, when has the media ever admitted openly that 7 people have died from a vaccine in history?
When has the media ever covered vaccinations this much in history?
Fair, but when have that ever been documented as death?
Well, how many other pandemics have they covered?
You know, the problem is
You hear
they were doctoring a little bit of, like, if someone died of heart disease, but they also had COVID, they died of COVID.
I'm saying that I praise the media for reporting those 7 deaths. Like, that's a big deal to actually report. But, like, I think they've covered up a lot because they're doing the opposite with, like, COVID deaths. Like, they're covering up the COVID deaths and they're covering up the...
It
like,
goes both ways,
If you
right?
had a heart attack a week after the vaccine, they're probably not going to count that. And then maybe that's fair because maybe it doesn't mean correlation, but I think they're giving a little bit of favoritism.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
definitely.
they're subsidising that, and actually it's not in their best interest for that because they don't want the hysteria. And it's actually bad for their name because they're trying to keep the peace. But ultimately, what's going to happen to the end of this pandemic? Like, what happens... what's going to happen at the end of this pandemic? Like, say if we get 80%, say overnight we get 80 or 90%, is he just going to drop all restrictions? Him being our fearless leader. Is our fearless leader...
Let's talk about Israel,
Yeah.
who's...
Well, it's 67 or 70%. But say if we got 80 or 90 overnight, are they just going to drop every single restriction?
No.
Well, say if they do. I think the only thing that's accomplished, if they do, because maybe we go back to square one, but I think the main thing we've accomplished is that the people who've got the vaccine, wanted to get the vaccine, have gotten it, so they're protected, and the people that don't, have been forced to, haven't got it. So
Not
that's
quite.
the only thing that's changed, right?
Not quite. Because everyone who wanted people who wanted the vaccine aren't necessarily eligible for it. They've only just...
I'm saying fast forward 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They reckon everyone from in our age bracket is going to be eligible by the end of...
Yeah.
Was it the end of August?
Yeah, which
Which
is
is
a good
very
thing,
cool.
because if people want to get it,
And
it's their own choice.
Absolutely.
correct.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that, like, herd immunity gets mentioned, and I think herd immunity also gets discredited by the same people who say that climate change isn't real, that
Well, the
equal
climate
rights
change.
aren't real.
Well, the
that-
climate
Climate
changes.
change is real?
Of course it's real.
Well, the climate changes. It changes about 4 times a year.
But, you know...
I'd go as far to say the world's never been colder than it is right now.
Yeah, it's
I think we're closer to an ice age than we are.
You know what? You know what people are remarkably astounded for doing is that they will base what the absolute truth is on their circle.
Well, it's not an echo chamber.
What I say by that?
No, it's good. You got to get like confirmation bias, right? You want a diverse range of opinions.
Not even a confirmation bias. It's more so that your reality is made up on what you experience day to day.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if I said, "There's nothing going on in Afghanistan, dude."
And that's what you did say.
That's
Well,
what
you're in denial.
But I think like, and I was doing some self-reflection because I like to reflect on myself a lot, right? And I think
You were wrong. I thought so too.
no, I was right, but I think I'm in charge of literally everyone I speak to, right? Which is all my clients and everything, and I'm controlling the conversation.
Control their bodies.
Yeah.
And so I think when you disagreed with me, that doesn't happen too often. And because like when I'm speaking to Kai and stuff, I'm more sort of
You're the man.
I'm more educated
Sorry,
on
Kai.
shout out Kai.
Caitlin, cut that out.
I'm more educated on more topics than her. So when you came at me, it shook my system.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What you're saying about
You're a bigot.
your reality is what is
Which is funny because we employ all these people to do all the research. We're like scientists, do the science stuff, and then when they come and tell us the science stuff, we're like the same thing. You know, we're not used to getting told things we don't want by the scientists. The scientists
People don't like being told what to do. Period.
You know what I mean?
But
and
that's
so
a
now
part of
we're
human
like,
nature.
fuck you, scientists.
I think the main problem with like myself and Charlie and our sort of side of the argument is I'm not as far as arguing the science anymore. I'm just arguing the choice and the freedom about it and the way that the world is going is not a pretty direction. And we spoke about North Korea, we spoke about Nazi Germany. I don't think we're going to get there.
Well, how many people have you spoken to that said that I don't want to raise kids in this environment?
Yeah, many.
Many.
But
you know more mums and dads than me.
And me and you spoke about this the other night, is that I don't think we're going to turn into North Korea, and I don't think we're going to turn into Nazi
This is the
Germany.
precursor.
But it didn't fucking happen overnight for those fucking civilizations. It didn't happen overnight. It was
But
step
the thing
by
with
step,
us-
and it was all for the for the best.
But although I think you could argue that it did happen overnight, because like I explained with the China revolution, they were a democracy. There was shit going under the table, right? And then all of a sudden there was a revolution. They overthrew the current government, and then all of a sudden it
Talking
became
about China though.
Yeah,
but like,
that's
but
different.
obviously,
that's
yeah.
China. No, but that's the same thing in like my home country Iran. Same thing. It was a dictator. It was a democracy. BC back in the day.
Yeah, BC.
No, but it was a
Shout out to the BC boys.
up until 1980. It was a democracy,
Mm-hmm.
and
BC 80.
BC 80 slowly under the table they were brewing up a dictatorship,
Oh, yeah, the
and then
Iran
they had
War.
then they had a revolution overnight, and then all of a sudden everyone was fucking stoned to death. Do you know?
We will have
No,
to-
no.
we will have to have a
They
full-on
didn't
chat
get
about it
stoned
around
to death. They got stoned.
They got
Okay?
stoned. It was
They
chill.
got westernized. But like with Nazi Germany, obviously, like since the 1930s, that was a good 10 years, and like people had a choice. But if this was Nazi Germany, at least we would know who would have complied, because there's people dobbing people in, their neighbours in to the Gestapo. And,
Yes.
like, at least we would know.
Bro,
Like,
people are
yeah.
fucked
so
up.
I'm talking to my mum. Like
man.
my mother's 60 years of age, 59. Shout out to Lindy. And
Shout out,
at her
Lindy.
Facebook, she said it is just like stormtroopers and the
Yes.
resistance. Right? She said it is just crazy because those older people, man, the older generation, those boomers. Like both my parents are boomers. Their mum's on the tail end, my dad's on the latter end. They get crazy, man. Like that's all. They don't even have Instagram. Like they don't have Snapchat. They all they got is Facebook, and it's their politics, and they can't even go out. It's just the other side. They're here and the other side, and it's just they're scared. They're scared. And
fucking crazy,
people are
man.
scared, and people are
crazy.
confused. They're confused, and they're scared.
I want to take a swing away from COVID and go towards social media, and it's sort of like what
I just good. I just had to take a break from it, like because it's so fucked up.
social media.
So
Yeah, definitely.
fucked up.
You wanna
Social
know-
media.
You want to know something interesting? Is that like
And like
anytime?
obviously you're sorry. So I'm really sorry.
Nah, just
Obviously you just said you haven't been on Instagram for a week or something. Obviously you're
Yeah.
moderating
not
your
my
your-
choice.
So I
We got hacked.
So I've been banned for about 2 years now.
banned.
No. So I've been on Facebook. I average Facebook about once a week, which is fine. Like I'm not
But you're clearly moderating that. For
Yeah,
a
but
reason.
no, it's just because I get bored. I got to be in this thing about 6 months ago that if I went on Facebook unnecessarily, it would, because obviously it gives you the best things that you want to see straight away.
Yeah.
So if I opened it, so I'd wait a couple of days, or even I'm not going to open it randomly during the day to check something because it'll give me the best things, and I won't look at them. I'll just look at something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I'll just wait and save them, and then it just dragged out further and further to the point where I just check it once a week, or like once every couple of days.
So amazing.
But then you see a status like Daniel or X, Y, and Z, and then it's got a COVID status, it's 100 comments long or 30 comments long. But if you've got some intellectuals on there, and it's a 100,
It's a genuine debate.
yeah, it's a genuine debate. Like even your statuses, all your statuses, and you can spend 45 minutes reading a status. So you spend 3 hours on Facebook, and but you come out of that and you go, "What did I get out of that?"
Yeah.
Like literally, I can spend 6 hours on Facebook. What did I get out of that? Literally nothing.
Nothing, no.
I didn't get any smarter. I might have got dumber and angrier.
But
Angrier.
everyone knows like the trivial stuff of social media. You know what I mean?
But it's great while you're doing. It's like
No,
clubbing.
it's
it's
not
like
great.
clubbing.
It's not great while
Yeah.
it's not great while you're doing it. It's like
No, but-
ice.
no, but
When
it's-
it's an addiction. It's an addiction. You never think it's great. You just can't stop yourself from doing it.
Absolutely.
Because you're not like, I'm having so much fun right now while this is working out for me. It's like I see this status, I'm sucked in, I'm angry, I want to comment on it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
and it's like
man.
when you think about anytime, I can't remember where it was where I saw this, but anytime a technology is released, they have to obviously think about the code of ethics and the implications that it could have. And they initially wanted to use the internet for coding messages for war. So they, during the World War II, so that
So they purposely made it flawed.
No. So but then that was initially how it was used, and then they had the technology to bring it out commercially. And I can't remember what board it was who was speaking about it, but I think it was maybe Macintosh who were like, fact check that please.
Microsoft.
Microsoft and Macintosh, I can't remember. Anyways, so they were thinking about the implications that could come of it, and that they thought that it could be used for warfare.
Mhm.
Like, as in, because it was initially meant to use. It was
This
initially
is
meant
for
to
real.
use.
This is the internet. How it started.
Yeah, correct. It was initially meant to
Yeah, no,
be used.
he's right, but
It was meant to be used.
Bruh.
Hey! Boom! I'm so glad we got that on camera. How'd that one go for you, mate? I was about to get deep.
What a dog! What a dog! It's our fucking new studio, man.
I got Dan Andrew.
Someone bring out a vaccine for that.
Don't spill the flatty juice.
Anyways, they wanted to use it during the war to send messages across long distances, but then they were worried that it was going to get used for warfare. And right now, I'm seeing it being used for warfare, because if you're someone like, I don't want to drop names, if you're someone who is anti-government, anti-lockdowns, anti-COVID, you can amass as much propaganda as you want, as let's say the government is throwing towards you about COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm seeing a war right now where a lot of people are getting caught in the middle of, where there's the pro-lockdown side and the anti-lockdown side, and the pro-lockdown is using like the mainstream media, and the anti-lockdown is now using social media to amass their armies, you know, putting up videos. There's lots of fake videos, lots of fake posts, lots of imitation.
Well, there's one video from last night. I saw a video, and it was a screenshot and a couple images, and it was the New South Wales spokesperson.
My man's here sent me that.
It was a New South Wales spokesperson, and he boasted on social media about having the vaccine. And it was so great, you should have it, X, Y, and Z. Had his photo, getting the vaccine, posing, it was all hunky-dory. And then literally the next day, at the press conference, there's a screenshot of him with one eye down, and it looks like he has Bell's palsy. And I go, oh, like someone's just edited this out, like it's just bad, like it's a cheeky screen.
It's a bad screenshot.
It's a cheeky screenshot. And then I'm like, whatever, like, yeah, I can kind of believe that. And then I see the video, and he's literally just like, he's taking the piss. Like, he's not taking the piss, but like it looks like he's taking the piss. He's just fluttering one eye. I'm like,
I didn't send him though.
I don't say
There was
that.
someone-
What I was going to
this
talk
fucker
about.
this fucker has Bell's palsy.
What I was talking about was Matt sent me a video of the same dude addressing people at the New South Wales press conference.
Get off those basketball courts.
No.
No,
The
no,
guy,
about the
this guy was-
stadium vaccinations for kids.
this guy was saying that there's going to be stadium vaccinations for kids, that the parents won't be allowed in. The kids have to have. It's like a program.
There's going to be the youth police.
The youth police are going to stop the parents from coming in. You look anywhere online and you can't find
Nothing about it.
any record. of it.
Nothing.
So-
There's no 7 News article. There's nothing about kids being herded into a stadium and being vaccinated.
So I went and found the original video,
Oh, for real?
and it was
tell me this.
Sorry, man, I didn't get a chance to. This is only today, and Yeah, they're not mentioning anything about it. So it's obviously been voiced over.
Charles, the microphone.
Oh. The coffee table.
It's obviously been voiced over.
100%. But it's his voice.
It's his voice, yeah.
Wait, what's been voiced over? This exact video we're talking about?
The children vaccination one.
Okay, so your foot might be...
The both sides just have these fucking animals on them, man. Like, I posted a status the other day.
Staunch
If-
in their opinion.
If what they wanted to do was create division amongst society,
Well, they've done
they
a great job.
fucking did it.
They did a great job.
They did it.
I'm
Like-
not saying it's left versus right, but it's me versus you.
But what do you say if they wanted to create division? Who would you say they?
The fucking New World Order.
The New World Order,
Well, no,
yeah.
it's-
But
It's politics. It's politics. It's not me versus it's votes. It's not me versus you. It's politics, and it's politicized.
No,
but
it's
at the end of the
worldwide.
day, their wages go up, and ours either stay the same or go down. At the end of the day, it's votes for them. It's
Correct.
nothing more. It's
And
nothing more than votes.
There's a voice for Victoria. Have you seen that petition?
I don't care about it, but I'm the voice of reason right now, and I'm saying their wages are going up, ours are going down, if anything, and we don't get a say because people say it's a democracy. I've had this argument with multiple people. Like, yeah, it is democracy, but you vote them in, but they're not accountable to anything they say or
No,
do
fuck no.
before voting.
There is no
So
accountability.
there
in
is.
politics.
It is democracy. I'm not shitting on capitalism or democracy. It's the best thing we have, but they're not accountable to anything they say before getting voted in, and that's the issue. They're like, yeah, we could vote them out, but try voting Dan Andrews out.
It's
But
interesting.
Try right now. Try get him out.
Try it.
Try.
Well, I think Lindsay Fox managed that pretty well.
Well, no, look,
Oh,
it's an argument.
shit.
Like, Dan
We're getting
Andrews,
cancelled.
It's interesting
We're
to say
getting
that.
cancelled.
his mandible got voted out in quick, swift fashion.
Tony Abbott actually suggested that they run a royal commission on the handling of COVID and obviously like what you mentioned about like the pay rises during the pandemic.
Well, it's
And I
obscene.
think-
It's obscene.
It's fucked up.
I think
It's fucked up.
I think that's
Fucked up.
First time I've sworn on here, but it's fucked up.
I think that's the way to go. But then again, they argued that is now the best time to look into us while we're trying to actively deal with the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Well, I think this is what I've always said is, right now, I think if Labor's in Victoria, I think if Liberal was in, they'd fuck it up as well. They'd fuck it up too. I don't think this can be handled in any correct way because like what the pro lockdown, pro vaccination side will say is, oh, so what's the alternative? And what you've always said, what's the alternative to never going into lockdown? And maybe how many deaths does USA have?
Realistically, we are an island. We are an island a long, long way from the hotspots.
Yes.
And whatever happened in America, like China knew about it. They let international flights fly over. They messed up the world. But Australia was pretty isolated. And yeah, we got the worst of it. Oh, sorry, we didn't get the worst. America got the worst of it. We didn't get it. All we had to do was shut down our borders.
Mm-hmm.
All we had to do.
What about people returning home?
You're talking about the Indian Australians.
Heaps of people
Yeah.
returning home.
Okay, so at the start, yeah.
No, currently there's still this
Yeah,
outbreak is
but
causing people coming home.
Yeah, they got everyone home who wanted to be home, like about 5 months ago, and then they let people go out. They did a lot of things, and they had a lot of Indian Australians come in and out, and they had the tennis. They had a lot of things going on, and that jeopardised a lot. But like we were COVID free since '93. We were COVID free for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
there's always
Yeah,
people coming home.
But it was very minimal. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with people coming home. But if they were letting people out, which they were, on business ventures, on lots of different ventures, which is like it's fine to do that, but like it's not fun to do that because you're letting people back in and letting people out. No, all they have to do is shut down the borders on a very, very, very strict notice. But they couldn't do that.
If anyone's gonna avoid something, it's an island.
But then
Exactly.
again,
all they have to do is shut down.
What's the difference between shutting down the borders and not letting people come back to their home country and not letting people leave their homes?
No.
within the country?
Everyone had a chance to come home, came home, and they let people out again. That was the issue. Like it's not as necessarily Aussies. I'm not going to shit on Indian Aussies, but I'm going to shit on Indian Aussies. It was Indian Aussies coming back
From
but
India.
You wouldn't think they were Australians, but they were Australians.
That's just one of the lockdowns.
The most recent, like for example, give the Delta variant some credit. Like
The fourth one was also Delta variant. It wasn't Indian Aussies. It was two families came home, and at this stage they didn't know the Delta variant could be aerosolized. You know, the fleeting transmission.
Mm.
Someone opened the room, the air got out and infected one of the workers there, and they went home. It was just a family who came home. That person went and like they nipped it in the butt. I think it got up to 20 and they locked us down, blah blah blah, and they stopped that. So stuff like that will or can happen. Without the lockdowns, then you can't stop it. So then your only real option is to just live with it. Which saying live with it is pretty easy. Just like saying I'd punch on with Khabib easy.
But actually doing it is.
But actually do it when you come to it, and you're getting mauled on, by Khabib on top of you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be thinking, oh, I sort of wish I didn't say that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, and this is what I was alluding to before, is I think any government is fucking this up, and I don't think there's any correct way to deal with it. But I'm telling you, the way we're doing it right now is not the fucking way.
That ain't it, bro.
Well, that's the thing, because
That ain't it.
I don't know if you guys saw the Ivermectin podcast with Joe Rogan, and he had the best, I would say, educated person on ivermectin in the world, and the other guy was Brett Weinstein, like a controversial figure.
Who was the other guy? Who was the actual scientist?
I don't know, but he was I don't know if he was a scientist, but he was a professor and a doctor.
No,
and
he was
worked
a scientist who worked on the paper.
We'll link this right here. We'll link this right here.
Corey.
Dr. Peter
Corey?
Dr. Peter Corey.
Pierre Corey.
Jamie!
Yeah, boy!
Jamie, boy!
Let's go!
Yeah, but he was a big dog. He's a big dog. And he's quite modest on the podcast, but he basically says that the contradicting rules between the CDC and the WHO. And they were saying, like, for a long time that it wasn't airborne. Like, it wasn't airborne, so on and so forth. And that the WHO was saying it was airborne. And then so they were blocking people, like they were deleting people's YouTube accounts, like Brett Weinstein, for example, a bunch of other people. And as the science continued and eventuated, it turned out that it was airborne. So that actually meant that masks were useless in a sense, because once they gave
that's right, the medical masks.
For the cars, for example. So if you're in a car and if it's airborne, and they used airborne and they used another term that was different, like the droplets. Water
droplets. And
water droplets. And then it's a good example, perfectly iterated. The droplets and the airborne. So there's a massive difference. Like droplets is when it comes out on if I sneeze, for example. But airborne is literally just the air that I breathe. So saying in a car, if you're just breathing with a mask on, the air or whatever,
it doesn't matter.
You have a time limit.
Well, the air gets
how long it takes before the air fills up.
The air gets saturated. So if you have a window down, that buys you some time. But if it gets saturated to a certain point, like it's game over. And so invariably it means that the masks were useless to a sense, to a degree. So it really, but they were in denial, or the science wasn't necessarily in the favour of being airborne like COVID for a long time. But so they were dismantling people's YouTube channels, livelihoods, for saying that. But then the science changed, and they were like, well, hang on, like you've deleted people's whole livelihoods and everything they've worked for based on this science that was it was evolutionized. It was eventuating like over the period, and they were just basically the hypocrisy, and the contrast between the CDC and the WHO.
Yeah.
And then they bring up a clip that it was a spokesperson from the WHO, and they were saying they were trying to get that person to just say the word Taiwan. They were trying to get the person to say Taiwan, and the guy was just
Can we drop the video, Caleb?
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
We decided to give Dr. Alward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China, and when you look across all the different areas of China, they've actually all done quite a good job. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us to participate, and good luck as you go forward with the battle in Hong Kong.
They were trying to get the person to just, because like obviously, a bit of a backstory. China doesn't even acknowledge Taiwan as a thing, because
Yeah.
it's a long history with the British and Hong Kong, but they're trying to take over Taiwan right now.
So Taiwan was originally held by. So there was some sort of like treaty where Britain got Taiwan for X amount of years, same as Hong Kong, and then after it went back to China.
Yeah.
But in the time that it was British rule, Taiwan was sort of a bit more independent. It was part of the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's...
It's a long time ago, but it's
then when it became China's ownership, they were no longer Taiwan as an autonomous country. They were, whatever.
China.
They were China. I don't know what they call. Do they call something different in China?
Now they're Taiwan right now, but China doesn't acknowledge them. China won't even say the word Taiwan.
Yeah.
Like it's taboo. So this spokesperson, he's a Caucasian male, and he works for the WHO, and like they've got him on a political interview as a spokesperson,
and they were baiting him.
He was being like interrogated, I guess he got baited into an interview, and they were just like, okay, talking about Taiwan, and he would just completely avoid the question, and then it got to the point where maybe they didn't say this, but it was that they literally wanted him to say Taiwan, and then I think they just said say Taiwan, and he was just like, oh. Anyway, furthermore, I'll circle back. And it was a one-on-one interview, and they were like, just say the word Taiwan.
Well, John Cena...
Just say the word Taiwan.
John Cena just apologised for saying fucking Taiwan was a country.
It's because China doesn't acknowledge Taiwan as a country. Because China, they don't discriminate. They want to take over Taiwan in undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They
the
don't
whole...
discriminate. They're good people.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you got people, powerful fucking people like John Cena, who acknowledge Taiwan as a country and then have to go on their Instagram and post a video of them talking in Mandarin, apologising for calling Taiwan a country.
That was absurd. That was actually absurd.
You can't see me.
You can't see me.
What a lot of people don't know about this, that China, a couple of years ago when Sydney was voting on something that affected China.
Sydney was?
Yeah, so it was Australia. Sorry, I think it was more Australia. Australia was voting on a federal matter that actually affected China, and I think it might have been a couple of years ago, but China sent sea warships to warships to the Sydney Harbour Bay.
I remember that.
And they just circled around, and they literally just like big flex. They big flex stuff.
Tony
And they just
Abbott's
sat them
like-
there like battleship, like warships.
Tony Abbott, what did they say? They asked Tony Abbott, what would you do if the leader or whatever
I'm
came
so
up?
glad you could elaborate on this. I'm so glad you can elaborate on this.
What would you do if the leader came, or what would you say to them? He's like, well, I would approach them and I would shirt front them.
That's right, I remember that. I remember that.
Does everyone know what a shirt
In the
front
fucking
is?
Speedos.
Does everyone know what a shirt front is?
Yeah, we know what a chef is. Come here, I'll show you.
You want some?
I'll give it to you. You got no fans.
You got no fans.
You got no fans.
Yeah, they flexed, and you know what?
That's a big flex, though.
The biggest flex is releasing
Low-key
a virus,
battleships.
releasing a virus that shuts the whole world down, and not a single
they wouldn't do that in
country is backing Australia on the Inquisition.
No, they wouldn't do that on purpose. There's no way that China would do that. It's China, bro. It's North Korea's older brother.
You fucking trust them, right?
It's North
You've
Korea's
been
older
to
brother.
China. You fucking know.
I only trust the
Wait,
vaccine.
if you don't trust us, we'll just have to kill you.
And guys, now back to our sponsor break. I'd like to thank Pfizer and BioNTech for sponsoring. And
We're getting shut down for sure, motherfucker.
Yeah,
There's way too much like
China.
both sides. We're getting shut down from both sides here. Just another quick break from our sponsors.
It's almost done. We've gone through the whole bottle.
I'll scroll it right now.
Tag our sponsors here. We got about 20 of them, so
Shout out Pfizer.
just right here.
Shout out
So
AstraZeneca.
we've had our debates. You've all met our new Jamie, Charlie. More on you. What we finish every podcast on. We're going to try and do this if we can remember. First of all, if you were to be able to time travel and say something to 16, 17-year-old Charlie, maybe
Jesus.
16 to 18-year-old Charlie, what would you tell him?
I would say that I would... Oh, yeah, I can't say that on camera.
Remember the number one rule of fucking online.
I would say that I would focus more on intelligence and as far as reading, because I've only started reading in the last year. I probably didn't care about that when I was actually in high school.
Yeah.
And I think, people's brains develop at different rates, but I think that's a really important thing, because if you can read and articulate your points and write, if you can write fundamentally, then you can negotiate your way through life, and you can hone your arguments, and you can get to better places, and you can battle for positions, and those positions could be for good things. They might not be for genocidal North Korean things, but they could be for good things.
Not everyone wants to control and starve their people.
Yeah, if you can articulate yourself well, and you can win battles for not only you but for people around you. So I think the most important thing is that you can articulate yourself in the world.
Power.
Yeah, knowledge is, but not only that, but not necessarily knowledge, but just articulating yourself within the world and being able to negotiate on your own behalf. And being able to negotiate on your own
There's
behalf.
one thing in the world, and that was probably it, but if there's one thing that you want to tell everybody, we've got fucking thousands of people watching this right now.
Millions.
Millions even.
Millions worldwide.
What would you want to tell people at home? Whether it's advice, whether it's a fact, whether it's anything. What is something that you want people to know about you or about the world?
Oh, about the world right now. Well, the single most important thing I would say is read this goddamn book. Because the smartest people I've talked to in the last 12 months have said, read this goddamn book, which I never have. But I'm halfway through it right now, and I can say goddamn. But I would say that get informed, inform consent, and do your own research, and definitely don't trust the mainstream media, because there's always an alternative narrative. But
that's good.
Get out there and just do your own research. Do your own research and get informed.
Perfect. Get informed, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. We look forward to having you there, Jamie.
My man.
Watch your mic.
Thank you very much.
Watch your mic. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe. Fucking
Definitely
tell all
like,
your
subscribe.
friends about it.
Share.